If this isn't Disney's worst animated show, I don't know what is. Shorty McShorts, try saying that 5 times fast. Actually don't, because that'd be stupid. Shorty McShorts was Disney's answer to shows like What a Cartoon and Oh Yeah Cartoons, showcasing pilots in hopes that they'd eventually become a series. The problem is that most of these were horrible. Only one of them got an actual series, and that was on a completely different network. And since they're all about 5 minutes long, I'm gonna take them all out in one video. What are we waiting for? Let's see what Shorty McShorts has to offer. You know you're boned when one of your better ones is titled Dudley and Nestor Do Nothing. Most of these shorts were dead on arrival. The main theme of this one was that our two main characters win whatever situation they were forced into by doing absolutely nothing. Now if that isn't the typical SpongeBob formula, I have no idea what is. But for curiosity's sake, let's take a closer look. Each of these has a title sequence. This one shows our two main characters staring awkwardly at us as the apocalypse breaks out behind them, almost like the Mr. Magoo shtick hasn't died out decades ago. The episode starts with them sitting on a bus being annoyed by some creepy twins.
Oh no, it's the Kodama twins. What do I can handle?
Wow, they actually got Richard Stephen Hortz, the voice of Billy and Invader Zim.
FYI, if we were from another planet, you'd be so sorry. Because we'd have superior intelligence and be able to melt your brains with our brain-numbing psi powers.
Huh, maybe he's still playing Zim and is just disguised as a human. At this point, you probably noticed the art style. They look like cutouts with white edges over everything. Yeah, you're gonna notice very quickly that most of these have pretty terrible art. They are pilots, so I can excuse it, for the most part. This one, by the way, is actually one of the best animated. At least it has an interesting style, something similar to what you'd see on Kablam. When they get to the space station for their field trip, they learn that there's no food or drink allowed inside. So Dudley is forced to drink his entire giant soda. Guess where this leads?
Mr. What? Mr. Wizzy! Mr. Wizzy! Oh, Mr. Wizzy.
Yeah, potty emergency. They run to find the bathroom. When they do, we learn that a meteor is heading towards the Earth. What follows is contrived coincidence on top of contrived coincidence. Dudley and Nestor enter the rocket thinking that it's a bathroom. This makes Mission Control think that the crew is inside the rocket. They get launched into space, and then they act like jackasses. They ignore instructions, deactivating autopilot, apparently dooming the Earth. Then they steal some spacesuits and accidentally launch a piece of their rocket at the asteroid. This flies it off course, and they get praised for ruining a $6 billion rocket. Hooray! If that one didn't seem so bad, don't worry, the worst is yet to come. I mean, how good could something called My Mom Married a Yeti possibly be? Not very. It starts with some Photoshop corn and kids arguing at each other. Perfect way to pitch your show.
Why did I leave the woods? Why did I leave the woods? Why? I love you and the corn you chew.
You know, one of the toughest things about making a pilot is saving the best cards for the show's actual run, like a declaration of love. Unfortunately, this card is wasted. It doesn't exactly work when you don't know any of these people. We're 10 seconds in, I don't even know anyone's name. All I know is the concept, which is stupid, and the pretty bad animation. It's like a 2D version of that movie, All of the Other Reindeer. We are immediately told that the Yeti and his wife will be chaperoning the school dance. Wow, this thing has absolutely no sense of pacing. I understand they've only got 5 minutes, but you need to take your time establishing characters and plot points. The kids beg not to be embarrassed. Guess what happens? The Yeti crashes the car because... comedy? What's the joke? Yetis shouldn't be allowed to drive?
If we distance ourselves from Dad and look cool, we should be just fine.
There's an art to having a main character with dental work be understandable. One you've yet to learn, young one. Oh, and the other kid has a Canadian accent because Yeti. The Yeti starts stomping, and the other kids seem to love it, seeing as how they're keeping that petrified expression. The Yeti takes the microphone and starts to confess his undying love for his wife, because I have no idea. There was no prompting for this. Even if they were going for the her, Yetis make awkward parents too.
Hey, I'm Henrik Vin. Dance, mana.
Me no habla español.
Hey, you little beast. We will dance now.
I'm just gonna go and call the cops. This went from awkward to creepy more quickly than I was ready for. The Yeti sees them slow dancing, and that reminds him of being attacked by bears. Then in an attempt to save his children from his delusions, he starts beating up a bunch of kids and goes King Kong on the school. Why are we supposed to like this guy again?
I just want to point out that you're embarrassing us!
There were more structured ways that you could have that happen. Even taking away the Yeti shit, this is a typical story about parents embarrassing their kids at school. The Yeti gets shot with a blow dart, and this knocks the statue off of the school. The kids struggle to save him. They really do care for his life after he embarrassed them. Gag me. Through a series of random events, the statue gets launched into the school and destroys it.
I don't know if you children have noticed, but our family is a little different.
I thought you were going for there's nothing weird about your family despite having a Yeti for a father. Now this sure makes even less sense. But that being said, our next entry is even more nonsensical. I have no clue what Basel Bag Zip is. It's probably the worst of these shorts on principle alone. The title sequence just says the title once, and we cut to some city. Then we see a family watching a show called Basel Bag Zip. The host of it sounds way too much like Bill Cosby.
Yes, it's true. Our dear friend and faithful mail carrier Lettersman Postal is retiring today.
And apparently the family is moving to Basel Bag Zip because the father got a promotion. The older kid doesn't want to go, and so they get into an argument. Mi no habla español. The instructions to get to Basel Bag Zip are...
Think of something funky, count down from 3, then open the garage door.
How to get to Atlantis and Atlantis Square Pantis made more sense than that. They open the garage door and they fly their minivan through the 60s until they magically appear at Basel Bag Zip, and Bill Cosby appears out of nowhere in the vehicle. He shows them their new home and their new neighbors.
Welcome to Basel Bag Zip Code 00001. Welcome to Basel Bag Zip Code. It's cops, it's cops, it's cubits of fun.
Seriously, what the fuck is this? It's like an alien tried to make a cartoon, but his only experience with Earth animation was the Groovenians. Bill Cosby here gives them some musical instruments because potatoes.
Begins a donkey rattle.
You know, it's generally a bad idea to have kids voicing kids, especially when the voice actor is only 3 years old. Anyway, he wants them to come up with a family theme song to go along with his theme song, and the older kid says that he wants to go home, mostly because wherever the fuck they are is totally insane. Later that night, Bill Cosby tries to talk to the son and tells him that he'll find a song if he looks in his heart. I don't know. Don't ask questions. We're almost done with this one.
Hey, Colin, it's me, Doug, the parrot. Hey, nice sneakers. Too bad they're getting dirty walking all over your dad's heart and all.
Oh, screw you. He didn't even tell his kid that he was moving until the last possible minute. You shouldn't be surprised if he was going to show some resistance. The talking parrot causes the son to forgive his father, and we see Bill Cosby creeping in on them.
We've done it and it's cool.
Sure you did. Oh, and Tom Kenny was in this. Ugh. The Fabulizers. In this short, some reality show douchebags find kids who are confident in their self-worth and try to make them vain and conceited, while throwing them repeatedly into physical pain. Yeah, I kinda hate this one's guts. The Fabulizers start spying on some kid who is playing with toys by himself, and for some reason they have a file on him. Already this one is creepy. We have a Johnny Bravo wannabe, a Total Drama wannabe, a Dude What Would Happen wannabe, and a beaver. Just go with it. They sneak up on the kid named Phil, and the Johnny Bravo guy rips off his shirt because we haven't seen anything like that before. Phil tells them to go away, so they pretty much kidnap him.
The truth is, Phil's not down with the kids of today. That's why we're gonna give him the classic full-on, fabulous flip, flop, and fly.
You know, if you want to be cool with the kids today, you might want to try being cool yourself. After some pointless shit, they decide to take Phil skateboarding off of a half-pipe straight out of the Fairly Odd Parents. And he's never ridden a skateboard before. I bet you know where this is going.
You're no different than the rest of these extreme skaters. But you do have one thing that I bet none of those guys down there have. A song in your heart.
Oh god, no!
Twinkle, twinkle, little star.
No way. I love this song.
How I wonder what you are.
What the fuck? While singing, they put him on the skateboard and drop him down the ramp. He gets launched up into space and ends up in a full body cast. They call this mission accomplished. 4 down, 7 to go. I know the show had 13 episodes, but our next one actually has 3 parts. And the funny thing is, the more of them that I saw, the less that I wanted to see. All Boys on to Run does is show how little any of these deserve to be full-fledged cartoons. It's horribly formulaic. All of the problems are caused by dancing, and all the problems are solved by dancing. This stars 5 characters in a boy band, and despite them all looking different, I can't tell who is supposed to be who. Anyway, they've gotten to be the biggest band in the world, despite them never having a live performance until now because they don't actually sing. They lip sync. During the performance, they sing their biggest hit single. Huh, isn't it ironic? However, their lip sync machine breaks, revealing them all to be a sham. The rest of these 3 parts is them on the run. They hide in a train. They hide in a diner. They hide in Canada. The only jokes are them being blind to reality due to their fame and wealth. Like we've never heard them before. A lot of these raise questions that they don't want to answer. The only question this one raises is why this one got the 3 parts. With some of the others, Dudley and Nestor for example, I can at least see them trying again. Not with this piece of bland repetitive shit. Too Many Robots falls into the category of having a creative idea and thinking that that excuses them from doing anything creative with it. It stars a little country girl named Digit, who moved in with her mad scientist uncle. Oh yeah, Digit sounds way too much like Apple Bloom and looks like a teenage Bubbles from the Powerpuff Girls. So a country girl is forced to live with an evil scientist family. That sounds brilliant. Instead of doing something with this, they decide to have a cliche, typical story about her getting ready for the school dance and trying to impress a boy. That's pretty much it. A conveyor gets her washed and dressed, barely with any attempts for jokes. Then she finds that her shoes have been oiled on by a robot dog. Then the evil scientist gives Digit an invention he calls shoes. You know, I could see this working if she was the kind of character who tried to use the inventions without permission. And because she recently moved in from the country, she wasn't very tech savvy. But because she doesn't want to use the inventions, it's like she's trying to keep the plot as cliche as possible. To get Digit to the dance, they use a transforming robot.
Robot? Transform! Into a potato?
No.
Bookcase?
No.
Gopher?
No.
This gag wouldn't be out of place in Family Guy. You're putting energy in the wrong place. You've got interesting ideas, but you're just not funny. At the dance, she ditches the robot outside, and he begins talking to a trash can. I guess he's supposed to be the stupid one. She sees the boy that she has a crush on and clicks her heels together. All of a sudden, the evil shoes begin dancing like crazy. Then they launch her into the air.
There are too many paddle jumping robots!
Oh, she said the line. How cute. The robot sees her and comes in to try to save Apple Bloom. Bubbles. Digit.
Get these apple shoes off of me!
¿Dónde está la basura, por favor?
Me no habla español. They manage to short-circuit the shoes in a punch bowl, but the dance ends up ruined. She has the robot transform into a turntable and saves the dance. Then she dances with her crush. Yay! Troy Ride is Meet Dave. No, really. 3 tiny aliens are piloting a human trying to get back to their home planet. Only here, they accidentally built the robot as a kid. It is the most uncreative of the shorts. If I will give it anything, it probably looks the best, but otherwise there's nothing to salvage here. The aliens think that an advertisement saying zero gravity shoes is true, and try to get the comic that contains the ad. Meanwhile, their arm is stuck up. This one's just boring. And now we get the only short that became an actual show, Shizao. I'm not going to talk about it much here. I'll say that the actual pilot's the show that aired on the hub is much better, mostly because the redesigned costume doesn't want to make me barf. Also, in the Shorty version, Guy's best friend has a crush on Shizao. Yeah, it would have been awkward if they kept that in the actual show. Mascot Prep. Oh god, this one. This is another one that falls in the category of thinking that because it has a creative idea, it excuses them from doing anything creative with it. The only difference is that the idea for Mascot Prep isn't creative. It's stupid. It's a school for the literal mascots of products. Basically take Food Fight and throw it in high school. It follows a new kid who gets bullied trying to do an assignment. He needs to create a jingle for his product, but he doesn't have a product, which is horribly confusing. Watching the short, everything else seems to suggest that mascots are automatically given a product to peddle. I mean, what do you think a cell phone is going to pitch?
And just so you know, this assignment will be half your grade for the entire semester.
Yes, because all teachers give the biggest assignment of the year right after orientation.
Food fight!
I'm telling you, Food Fight the animated series. There's a loser kid named Germ. He's a slug who pitches toilet cleaner. And the new kid hits it off with him. And it all works out. Yippee! Where the fuck are these ideas coming from? On to the imperfect duplicates of Dodger Dare, which is probably the one that I hate the most. Sad because it has the best animation. It starts with our protagonist taking a picture of him and his friend, who obviously has a crush on him, and placing the head of someone he has a crush on over hers. And I hate him already. He ends up accidentally asking his crush out and decides that he isn't cool enough to date her. He goes to his magic photocopier machine and makes a few copies of himself, to varying degrees of failure, until he finally gets one right. Hey, it's like that episode of Family Matters, and that episode of Gravity Falls, except terrible. Dodger treats the other clones like crap, and I hate him even more. He has the cool one go on the date. The other clones decide that they don't care if they're freaks. They want in on Dodger's crush too. Speaking of which, the cool clone doesn't want to give her up. So Dodger gets him wet and he washes down the drain. Let's ignore the ethical morality of this stuff because I'm getting tired. The date, right after saying that she didn't want Dodger to change in the slightest, starts going out with the other clones. This scene takes up the majority of the episode. Then Dodger's date gets drenched with a bucket of water that was never set up, and he ends up getting a crush on another girl, who doesn't have a crush on him. Fan-fucking-tastic. Finally, Flip-Flopped. This is the one that I'm most disappointed in, because it has the best idea out of all of them. But they went and blew it all sky high. The main theme of this episode is that adults are kids, and kids are adults. That sounds pretty cool, but instead of doing what Kids Next Door would do, they do nothing. The kids act exactly like adults, and the adults act exactly like kids. I'll show you what I mean. The mom gets it with a toy, and the son, Duke, was playing with it. And then the mom threatens to give them a timeout. Now, if the show gave kids merely the role of adults and vice versa, that would be interesting, and possibly even funny. Instead, if I didn't know any better, I'd say that this is an absurdly cliche story with an animation error that they decided to roll with. The parents have an invitation to go to a party. Instead of making like a birthday party or something, they make it an adult party. So the kids, oh god, this is going to get confusing, ask to be left home alone when Duke starts sucking his thumb. Am I supposed to find this funny, cute, or creepy? I don't really know. It's just confusing. Especially when you start thinking of the logistics of this world. Trust me, there are some questions you don't want to ask about this show. Mommy, where do babies come from? The parents give them some sample questions that are once again played completely realistically.
I know what everyone's thinking. I got my convertible. They say I'm having a midlife crisis. But you know what? I don't care what anyone thinks. I like having the top-down wind on my face and the power in the palm of my hands.
Oh my god, how could they not make this work? Yep, it's another example of an episode that has a fantastic idea, and thinking that it excuses it from telling an interesting story. And it's the worst offender. The concept is great. In fact, I really think that someone should roll with this again. Just keep the kids as kids, and adults as adults. Just flip their roles. That would make an awesome cartoon. Anyway, the parents think that their kids are doing dangerous things, and go home to check up on them, without telling each other, in separate means of transportation. A squirrel bangs on a trash can, and the kids, adults, think that it's a burglar. This means that we get some Home Alone crap. The father comes home and gets attacked by the traps, and ends up in a gorilla suit. You know that this might have been funny if they weren't actually pelting down on a child? The kids call the police, and the mother punches the father. By the way, if she was in the car, how did he get to the house first? Either way, they both get arrested for being concerned about their kids, adults. And that was all of Shorty McShorts shorts. As a whole, it was a waste of time, filled with skits that had bare-bones plots and bare-bones animations. It had unlikable characters, it had stupid concepts, it had stupid ideas. It also had some good ideas that it chose to do nothing with. Seriously, someone turned too many robots and flip-flopped into actual series with just a little bit of retooling. Shorty McShorts shorts lasted only a year, and I'm surprised that it actually lasted that long. Though because it aired between shows, people seem to barely remember it. For a good reason. Not that it was the worst show ever, but it reeks of laziness. How hard is it to put good animation into 5 minutes? Or how hard is it to keep someone's attention while you are sparing them from commercials? And yes, I'm bitter that they never did anything interesting with too many robots or flip-flopped, and you should be too. That's probably what hurts the most. The Splinter, Fresh Air, they could have never worked, ever. But not only were some of these really good ideas, they were great. Nothing is sadder than wasted potential.
Take this kind of pressure. I must confess, one more dusty road would be just a road too long.